Hi, welcome to the Dynamic Duel podcast, where we debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in crossover battle simulations and reviewing their films. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
And this episode is a duel episode. It feels like it's been a while since we've done a duel episode because we've had so many review episodes lately with the Inhumans and the Defenders. So I'm excited to get back into it. And
the last one we did was Katana and Elektra.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, it has been a while.
Yeah, and this will be a fun one. It's Black Bolt versus Shazam. I'm really hoping that Black Bolt will get a W here. That way you can kind of make up for the whole, the whole show being sucky thing.
Yeah. If you listen to our last episode, we teased a Black Adam versus Black Bolt match.
Right.
But we decided to go with Shazam instead, figuring that...
the only real difference was the name, like Black Bolt, Black Adam. But I was like, well, if we're going to do Black Adam, usually when you match up Shazam with somebody against Marvel, it's Thor. But we already did the Thor versus Wonder Woman fight. So what are we saving Shazam for? Let's do Shazam versus Black Bolt instead of Black Adam.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's better for me because I think Black Bolt is more likely to do something like rip Black Adam is more likely to do something like rip Black Bolt's head off because he's a lot
like
more
immediately.
lethal. Yeah, because he's a bad guy. So I think...
And I think it's better for me, too, is because Shazam just got a power upgrade in DC Rebirth. Yeah, so we'll be going over that. Yeah.
What does that mean?
You'll find out.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's not good news. Okay, but that'll be the main event for this episode. We'll be talking about that later. Before we get into that, though, we always discuss the latest movie comic related news from Marvel and DC. This episode we'll be talking about the Justice League early screening reactions. Apparently there was an early screening and we got some word on who's been cut from the film, how good the film was, things like that.
Yeah.
The New Mutants has wrapped filming, and the director Boone has made some interesting comments about what the film is like. We also got some interesting comments from Chris McKay, who's directing the upcoming Nightwing film. We got some news about a possible Power Pack movie coming through the pipeline.
Yeah, family-friendly kind of film, kids film from Marvel.
And the news that I'm most excited to talk about was the new Punisher Netflix trailer.
Yes. I just saw that for the first time. I'm so pumped up.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. As always, if you enjoy the show, go ahead and tell your friends about it. Subscribe to us, leave a review, do all those good things.
Yeah, we're on like a bunch of new podcast programs too. I don't want to say programs, apps. Things like Podchaser and Spoke.
Oh, yeah, Spoke is cool.
If you like podcasts, you like listening to podcasts, and you're sort of experimenting with some of these newer apps, check us out, rate us. That'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Thanks,
They're pretty
guys.
interesting. So
okay, so before we get into the news, as always, it's trivia time. We do a trivia segment every episode where we give off a question and then you answer it via our social media accounts, and if you get it right, you get a no prize, which is what Marvel used to give out to readers who would write into them with corrections for their comics.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to Jules Finch, who got last episode's question right. Last episode's question was, one of the cast of the Inhuman royal family has also played a live-action DC superhero. Name the actor and their role. And the correct answer was Serinda Swan. The actress that plays Medusa in the Inhumans show also played Zatanna in Smallville.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. She has a good resume.
It's like 30-year-olds playing teenagers.
Yeah, pretty much. So this episode's question has a little bit of back explanation to it. So when Shazam's alter ego Billy Batson yells out the word Shazam, a bolt of lightning strikes him and he turns into the superhero. So the word Shazam itself is actually an acronym for the names of the deities that he channels his power from.
Right. So he has the wisdom of Solomon,
that's S,
the strength of Hercules,
H,
the stamina of Atlas,
A,
the power of Zeus,
Z,
the courage of Achilles,
A,
and the speed and flight of Mercury.
There you go. So it's an acronym. The wizard that gave Billy his power used to be a superhero too. What word would the wizard shout, and what was it an acronym for? So he also... the Wizard would not shout out the word Shazam because
No.
that was his name.
Yeah.
But so he used to shout out another word, and that was also an acronym. Tell us what it stood for.
This is also pre-New 52 continuity, so keep that in mind. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be giving a hint for this question later on in the episode. If you know the answer, find us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by searching for Dynamic Duel DC versus Marvel. Or you can also reach out to us via email by writing into dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you've been following us on Instagram, we actually teased this match we're about to do later on in the episode through that. So if you're interested in learning, I like the idea of not revealing who a next like battle episode will be, who we're pitting against each other. I like the idea of teasing it. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with that,
If you like a little tease,
yeah,
who doesn't like to be teased?
Gross.
Yeah, check us out on Instagram. I really like what we're doing with that Instagram account.
Yeah.
So yeah,
If you like news, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. But if you like just
looking at cool pictures, check us out on Instagram.
I guess that could be said in general for any of those social medias.
All right, let's get into the news.
Yeah.
So Justice League had its very first screening, and some reactions have gotten out.
Learned, at least 4 that we know of. They're not really supposed to. No one could say anything about the film, so everything is through another person. We heard through Batman on Film from 3 people that he spoke with. They all described the film as epic, using that word epic, which is great.
That's good.
But I also heard another, and I forgot who released the news, but someone else described it as fine.
Fine?
Yeah.
Huh.
But I'm fine with that.
At least, I mean, it's
sure
better than not fine.
I've heard a lot of people describe Wonder Woman as fine, and I really liked Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The more I see it, the more I like it.
I've heard people describe the Avengers as fine. If Justice League is at least as good as the Avengers, it doesn't even have to be as good as the Avengers. It could be just right below it, I think, and it would be fine.
I'm happy. I'm happy that, of course, it's only 4 reactions, but I think it's a good sign. And it seems like, it's definitely being streamlined by Joss Whedon. According to the people who have seen it, Lex Luthor is no longer in the film. And we know that he was going to be in the film because Jesse Eisenberg said that he was in the film.
Right. Yeah, we know he filmed scenes for it.
Yeah. Yep. And we also just recently learned that Iris West is not in the film.
Which is the Flash's love interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I find particularly interesting about the Lex Luthor cut is that if you saw the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, which if you haven't, go do that. Go see that.
It's better.
It's a lot better. Yeah. Especially the Lex Luthor character. He's the one who, has that communion with Steppenwolf. He's the one who, possibly sends him or brings him to Earth or encourages him to come to Earth, tells him about the mother boxes or whatever. To not have that story thread kind of carry on kind of sucks, I think. So I guess Steppenwolf was,
But I also don't like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, so for me, it's a win.
But here's the thing: he was a lot better in the Ultimate Edition. He was still
he was.
I'm sure he would still. People would still find him annoying, but he was much more intelligent. He was much more
in the theatrical cut. He was shit, and in the Ultimate Edition, he was just what's less than shit. Pee.
Piss?
He was just pee.
Granny's peach tea.
He was still Granny's peach tea, but Granny's peach tea is still piss. So he's still not the ideal Lex Luthor that I wanted.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they're probably not going to recast. I don't know. Maybe they might. They always left that door open for possibility because he's
he's
son.
Junior.
He's a junior.
Now it's also interesting because at the end of the Ultimate Edition, Batman told him that he was being sent to Arkham, and there was always a rumor that his involvement in Justice League was also going to include a scene with Deathstroke, where Deathstroke gets him out of Arkham Asylum, or whatever. It sets up the next Batman film.
Right.
It would have set up Ben Affleck's Batman film.
So it's possible that Deathstroke is also not in Justice League, although we have not that has not been confirmed.
It's never confirmed that he was
It's
in there.
assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, if Lex Luthor is out, Deathstroke is definitely out. And it's always been assumed that he's been out since Ben Affleck is not doing Batman anymore. As for Iris West...
Directing Batman
anymore. That's right. As for Iris West, this possibly means that she could be recast for Flashpoint. If she was going to be in a Flashpoint. I don't know.
I assume that she would be, at least in the beginning.
Maybe. I'm not... Again, I keep telling myself, read Flashpoint.
You haven't done it yet?
No. It's... I don't know how heavily involved she is in that story. It was confirmed that like Gal Gadot is going to be in Flashpoint, but
well, yeah, they're going to put her in everything now because she's
sure.
really marketable,
and she plays a role in that story. But again, I have from what I know of Flashpoint, Iris West I don't think plays that big of a role. Who knows? Who knows what they're going to do with the character of Iris West?
Yeah.
But there's an opportunity now for the character to be recast.
Well, usually they include some sort of love interest for the superhero in all superhero films.
Yeah.
So, for me, this is the fact that these characters are gone. I'm not too concerned about it because knowing Zack Snyder's style, especially in BVS, there was a lot of fat there that could have been trimmed. To me, it just sounds like Joss Whedon is tightening it up a little bit, getting rid of some of the excess. And if these characters don't have huge bearings on the plot, I don't want them to be there just for being their sake. Yeah, if that makes sense.
And I heard a rumor earlier that Darkseid was also going to be cut from the film, but with these latest everything post screening, this screening that they had, I've not heard anything about that. And in fact, I think one article mentioned Darkseid. So I think hopefully he's still in the film. It's going to really bother me if he's not in the film.
What's interesting is that they should have began the screening process like a month ago or a couple months ago.
I think they've been working on it.
And then once you have those screenings, you know what you need, and then you go and do reshoots. The thing is that they did reshoots, they've been doing reshoots for a while now. I'm wondering if they still have time, if the screenings don't go well, to do additional reshoots on top of the old reshoots they already did.
Well, I mean, what was it? The new Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. Like, they just finished filming.
Oh, yeah?
And,
Huh.
And
reshoots?
Reshoots, yeah. So I mean, they're still editing the film, and I think they'll be editing up really close to the release of the film. So,
yeah. Well, they have a whole month behind Justice League, so
true.
Hopefully, Justice League hurries up. I'm not too concerned, considering that the reactions thus far have been, middling to positive. So that's good news.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of wrapping filming, the New Mutants has wrapped filming this past week. And it was a pretty quick shoot. It kind of came and went fairly quickly. I think they started filming in early summer, or midsummer. So it was like a quick 2-month shoot, I think. So maybe it wasn't really that quick. It just felt quick because we didn't get a whole lot of like set reports or anything like that.
Based on this news, it kind of seems like everything was probably done in a studio. So there wouldn't have been like, leaked footage that, the fans typically get when they film like outdoors.
Yeah. We got a quote from, actually, I thought it was the director that made these quotes, but it was actually 20th Century Fox CEO Stacy Snyder, who had a quote regarding the tone and kind of the plot of the movie. I'll go ahead and read it. So she said, great effort has been put into making sure they're differentiated, and that's in reference to the greater X-Men universe. New Mutants is about these teenagers who are just coming into their powers. It's like watching mutants go through adolescence, and they have no impulse control, so they're dangerous. The only solution is to put them in a breakfast club, detention / cuckoo's nest institutional setting. It protects the people on the outside, but it's strange and combustible inside. The genre is like a haunted house movie with a bunch of hormonal teenagers. We haven't seen it as a superhero movie whose genre is more like The Shining than we're teenagers, let's save the world. That's super interesting comment.
That is very interesting.
It's not the route that I thought the film was going to go. We all know that the film was being described as a horror film. But to have it labeled, compared to The Shining, and say that like a vast majority of it takes
First of all,
place
don't
in,
compare your films to Stanley Kubrick. I was going to say Christopher Nolan for some reason.
Why?
Films. Because you're never going to match them. That's like the pinnacle.
No, I think it's... Well, what else would you compare it to if that's what the tone is most similar to?
I don't...
She's not
That's
saying
what they're shooting for.
She's not saying, oh, this is as good or better than The Shining. She's comparing the tone. Like, it's less of a superhero, like a standard X-Men film where they're out there fighting apocalypse.
Yeah.
And more, it seems like something set in more intimate, closed setting where these dangerous teenagers are being held perhaps captive. Or like some sort of boarding school type situation.
Yeah.
It
almost sounds like they're institutionalized.
Yes.
And I mean, based on this, I wonder if they're going to keep the name New Mutants.
I think they are.
I almost think that if you use the name New Mutants, you're kind of setting in expectations that, hey, this is like a new adventure to go on. Whereas this seems, based on her description, like more... It's just different, more standalone in a way.
Yeah. I think it's fine to call it New Mutants. That's what the comic was called. This sounds very much not like the comic. Now, the New Mutants story has always been... I mean, it's very similar to the X-Men story in that, it's just the next generation of mutants that Professor X was training at the Xavier Mansion. But it was always a little bit darker. I think the approach that they're taking here, it sounds like Professor X is not even a part of this story, perhaps. We'll see. But the approach that they're taking doesn't sound like any other X-Men film that we've seen so far. So I think, they're taking great steps to differentiate this particular story from the rest, which is good, I think. It's interesting.
Yeah, definitely interesting.
I think it's better than, setting it up as just another generation of mutants that Professor X is training, because we get that legacy aspect very much in the current X-Men franchise continuity, in the mainstream one.
Right.
With
especially since those actors are returning to the next X-Men film.
Right,
like
exactly, for
Fassbender and McAvoy. And
yeah, but we're also getting the younger ones, like Ty Sheridan and Alexander Shipp.
Sansa Stark.
Yeah, I forget. I was trying to think of Phoenix's name. I can't remember her real name. Oh, God. Oh, whatever.
Sansa
you guys
Stark.
know. You guys know. Sansa Stark. So, yeah, I think this is... I like the movie The Shining, too. It's pretty good. So, if it's a haunted house X-Men movie, that sounds cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It's surprising that this movie comes out only 2 weeks before Avengers Infinity War. I just realized that the other day. So,
yeah, that is interesting. This seems low budget enough, though, that like it's probably going to make its money back.
Yeah.
Opening weekend for sure. So I don't think they're too worried about competition.
Yeah, I hope it finds its audience. I'm a fan of the horror genre, and I'm a fan of superhero movies. So hopefully there are enough of us out there, and hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris McKay has been doing the rounds recently. He's a producer on Ninjago. So he's been talking with some news outlets, doing some interviews, and he said some pretty interesting things.
Right, because he's also going to be the director of the Nightwing film.
Yes,
and he also directed Lego Batman.
Yes.
So
yeah, he's directing the Nightwing film, and he's sort of given us an insight more than I think anyone else has, because Warner Brothers doesn't seem interested in doing it, as to what their approach is to the DC film universe, and just the cinematic cohesiveness between the films. It kind of seems from his comments, which have been about how Warner Brothers is very much director driven, and it's sort of like a family when you're with Warner Brothers. They want to make the film that you want to make, but it seems that like Warner Brothers really doesn't have a plan. Essentially, I think is going on based on his comments is that directors who work with Warner Brothers pitch a film idea, and then the director works with John Berg and Jeff Johns to fit that in the rest of the film universe, not necessarily to drive like some giant story forward or some cohesive story forward, but just to make sure that continuity wise it fits in there.
Right.
He described Jeff Johns and John Burke as partners, whereas I think any other director in Marvel Studios would describe Kevin Feige as the boss.
Yeah.
So it definitely seems like Jeff Johns he's working with the directors. He's not telling them what to do. He's not driving some like larger narrative forward. So I think that's sort of led to a lot of the confusion because a lot of people are expecting DC and Warner Brothers to take the same route as Marvel,
which
where it seems like they're not doing that. And I'm okay with this. It's still going to lead to some great stories, you know. And if you want to jump on something, you just do it, you know.
You know what's better than great stories? Great stories told within great continuity.
There's still going to be a continuity there, though. I think that's what Jeff Johns is there for, because he is a master of continuity.
That's true.
So it's interesting to hear him describe how it goes on sort of behind the scenes there. He's also described the film as just like, he's used the word badass like countless times to describe his approach to Nightwing. He's even gone so far as to saying that this film, if there were an Academy Award for stunt work, this film will win that award, even though they haven't started filming yet. I don't know.
Do you think he protests too much? You think?
No? Protests? No.
Do you think he's... I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you think he's... it's coming off as almost insecure? No? Like, he's like, oh, this is going to be the greatest... He's sounding very Trumpian. This is going to be the greatest movie of all time. It's going all the stunt awards, blah, blah, blah.
It does sound very Trump. I think he's really excited for the film. I don't think he means to come across as, egotistical. He kind of is. You could tell he's definitely excited for it, though.
Considering the only thing we've seen from him is Lego Batman, and that's not really the best example of, live action stunt work that we've seen.
Honestly, I mean, Lego Batman was still a really good film, though. I still really liked it. And especially after seeing Ninjago, which I saw yesterday.
Which sucked.
What a piece of shit that movie was.
It looked like a piece of shit.
No, I can't wait to see who he casts for the role, though, and stuff. Because apparently, according to him, like, they're going to, have to go through a boot camp. And there's going to be a lot of work. He's really going to put a lot into this film, it sounds like.
You know who would be a great Nightwing?
The guy that cast for the TV show?
No, not him.
Who?
Tom Holland, because he can do all the acrobatic stuff.
Yeah,
like if he was a little bit bigger, a little bit taller.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that was great casting for Spider-Man, just because he has that physicality to him.
Yeah, there is a similarness in the physicality between Spider-Man and Nightwing.
Yeah.
The one just has black hair and one has brown hair.
Nightwing may be like the most physical kind of character in the DC Comics universe. Just
male
character. Yeah, acrobatic for sure. Most acrobatic male character, just because of his background, being in the circus and stuff like that. So
yeah.
One thing we forgot to mention last episode was that Nightwing was cast. We mentioned the Hawk and Dove casting, but not Nightwing.
You dropped the ball on that one.
We skipped the bigger news. So Brenton Thwaites has been cast as Nightwing, which I think is terrific casting.
In the Titan series that's going
in the Titans television series. Yeah.
Yes. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean, the latest one they did, or Gods of Egypt. I thought he was fine in the trailers. I have seen The Giver, which I thought he was good in. And I think I remember seeing him from another film. I saw him in Maleficent. But either way, I think he looks the part for sure. He kind of has, a charming face, I guess. Which Nightwing should be charming. He shouldn't be as dark and brooding as Batman. But I still think you have to be able to go that route should you want to. And I think he can.
Yeah.
So I think it's great casting.
Yeah,
I would be happy if he was cast in the film version, let alone the TV version.
Yeah, because he has a big movie career as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
interesting.
Or an up and coming one for sure.
Yeah. our friend Adam Spees, who we kind of plugged his podcast in a couple episodes ago, he has a new podcast called The Blast from Our Past, and in their latest episode, they have a segment on their show where they cast like nostalgic 80s and 90s movies,
right?
Like if they were to be made into films.
And they did the Teen Titans.
Yeah, they did the Teen Titans, and they had a pretty good cast for all their characters. They were a lot younger than what this current show's cast is, but they had mentioned Tom Holland for Robin, so I don't want to take credit for that, even though I've always thought that he would make a good Nightwing. But it's a great segment. If you haven't listened to their show, definitely check it out. It's called The Blast from Our Past podcast. And I wish that we did that segment because it would be perfect for our show. Like who would you cast in a I don't know, Legion of Superheroes movie? Because we talk about movies and superheroes so much, we could always take these properties that haven't been made into films yet and just talk about our dream cast. It's a great segment, but I'm not going to steal it because that's their thing and I respect them too much. So anyway,
we have enough segments.
We do have enough segments. Okay. So that's it for the Nightwing thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So Marvel Studios is reportedly planning a family-friendly Power Pack movie. This is according to the hashtag show. It's not huge news because it's just mostly speculation at this point. I guess it's a rumor. I did want to address it because
I don't know who the Power Pack are.
The Power Pack, they're a group of like kid superheroes. They were around in the 80s. That's when they were most popular. That's when the series debuted, I believe. And it's basically it's a older brother and it's older brother, older sister, younger brother, younger sister. And I don't remember what all their powers are, but it's very kid oriented. And the report by the hashtag show is that Marvel might be thinking of turning this into like a Spy Kids like story. And the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 producer Jonathan Schwartz is on board in some capacity apparently. So, what I wanted to say about this news was that I think Power Pack would make an excellent animated movie, like kind of like how Pixar did Big Hero 6, which I thought was a fantastic movie. I think,
and a lot of people don't know that's Marvel.
Yeah, I think Disney and Pixar could do something great with the Power Pack, honestly. So I don't necessarily want to see it live action because I don't know how well this group of kids would play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially Cinematic Universe that has somebody like the Punisher, Daredevil, and even the Civil War storyline was kind of dark. Like I can imagine like these young kids who are like no older than 10 being inside, like how they would fit into all that. So I want to see this animated. I think that would be pretty cool.
I definitely find it interesting that like just the tone of superhero films are getting lighter. You have Shazam coming up, which also, stars essentially a kid superhero.
Right.
And it kind of seems like we're getting further away from, Christopher Nolan's sort of inspiration of, how he inspired sort of like a legion of darker, more realism, more grounded superhero films.
Yeah.
I find that interesting.
I think it'll always be a cycle. Sometimes the films will go too dark and you have to course correct and go a little bit lighter, and then sometimes they'll get too light and you have to course correct.
Kind of seems like when you have a president that artists like, things go dark. When you have a president that artists don't like,
things go lighter.
Yeah, maybe. It's interesting.
Yeah.
The counterbalance.
I think doing a live action Power Pack movie might skew a little bit too much toward the light tone a little bit. I don't think it'll connect with a lot of the adult audience. I'm sure kids would love it, but I just imagine it being like this kind of like Three Ninjas type tone movie. I don't know.
But I remember that film. Jeez.
But so I'd like to see. I think there are not enough animated superhero films. I think that if you look at Big Hero 6 and The Incredibles, and hopefully maybe this upcoming Ultimate Spider-Man movie coming out next year, I think there's a lot of potential to not only do all these live action films, but a lot of great animated.
I think it's
when I say animated, I mean computer animated, because of course DC does release a lot of their animated
Lego
films.
Batman,
yeah, but I'm talking about more like The Killing Joke and the Batman Harley Quinn things, and that's fine, but it seems a lot less of a spectacle when you go see those type of movies in theaters nowadays. It seems more like television cartoons as opposed to, you know, something that you would see on the big screen. I like my animated movies to be computer 3D animated.
I think there's a lot of competition in the computer animated realm. I mean, it's really hard to compete with Pixar, I feel like. And especially, you know, what they did with Incredibles, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you make a good Fantastic Four movie after The Incredibles? You know?
Fucking Incredibles. It was fucking incredible movie, but fucking Incredibles.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
They blew it.
It's like, you're a good movie, but damn it. Damn you. You took it from Watchmen. You took it from Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You took all the good parts.
X-Men a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for that. Last on the news docket, we have, and this is the exact opposite spectrum of Power Pack of the Marvel universe. We have the Punisher Season 1 trailer. We discussed, they had a teaser that we discussed in the last episode, but this was the first full trailer. Usually it drops about a month. These trailers drop about a month before the show's release, and a lot of reports have been coming out that are speculating that the Punisher show is going to be released on October 13th. It's like a 90% certainty that it's going to be released in October.
We definitely know it's going to be released in 2017 because at the end of this trailer, they hid the month and the date.
Yeah.
But they left 2017 open. So
yeah, they always show the year and they always blur the date.
Yeah.
There was an official post by Netflix Korea that stated that The Punisher is coming out in October, but that tweet was since deleted.
Yeah. Korea.
I think it was, what was it, Total Film Magazine that put the date as October 13th. So that's where we're getting that information from.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then we probably won't be doing like a Halloween Duel episode.
No.
We'll be reviewing The Punisher instead, which is fine by me because I'm really looking forward to this. So you saw the trailer for the first time.
Yeah.
And what did you think?
I thought it was really well edited. Like, this is putting my faith back in Netflix. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I liked The Defenders, but it was definitely not up to Daredevil 2 caliber. And this looks like it's Daredevil 2 caliber.
Yeah. Or even Daredevil
This
Season
looks like
1.
it could be better.
Yeah, possibly. I have to say, I loved the trailer too. It's going to be a contender when we do our Brothers Awards at the end of the year. For best trailer. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a toss-up between this one and the Thor Ragnarok teaser trailer that had the Led Zeppelin song on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're both really well. They both use these classic rock songs. It's weird to call Metallica classic rock. I don't think I should do that. But, and honestly, when the trailer first started playing and you see him playing the guitar with his daughter and, you know, playing the guitar alone in his dark room, I was like, wow, they're going, like, really, not emo, but...
Emotional?
Emotional. And I'm kind of getting sick of the whole trend to put these classic rock songs with trailers. And so...
I'm not. I loved this.
I think it's becoming a gimmick, kind of.
That started with Suicide Squad? No, this probably started with Guardians of the Galaxy.
That being said... This is one of the best examples of that we've seen, along with Thor Ragnarok. I mean, these two songs fit the content, not just lyrically they fit the content, but like the way they sound, the tone of the song fits the content as well.
Yeah,
and I think the lyrics for Metallica's "One," which is the song used in this trailer, is about a war veteran who's like he's like in a personal hell because he's actually in a coma and a landmine took away his limbs and stuff like that. But he can't, like, he's like, I can't live, I can't die, I'm stuck in this weird purgatory. And that's emotionally where I think Frank Castle is, since his family was murdered.
I didn't know that. That's, man, yeah, what a great song choice.
Yeah. So we see him play the guitar, and we see him have, like, it looks like these kind of, like, dream flashbacks.
Yeah, it looks like he's flashing back.
He's, like, sitting alone in a room, just, like, staring at his hand, and he looks... John Bernthal is going to give... He gave, like, an amazing performance in Daredevil Season 2. And just from this trailer, he is such a good actor. Like, you can tell he's going real deep into this, because just looking at how tortured he is, like, affects me right here in my chest.
If Chris McKay was directing this, he'd say, The Academy is going to start giving Oscars to television shows on Netflix, and this is going to win.
We see Frank Castle have like these flashbacks to like spending time with his kids and on the carousel and everything like that. And he has a flashback with his wife where she's like, it's everything's fine. We have all the time in the world now, or something like that. And then she gets shot in the face all of a sudden. And his reaction to that, it made me jump. It was a very visceral shot. It didn't hold back. Which is what I want from a Punisher series.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be violent. It should be hard to watch, but you should get a measure of catharsis when you see Punisher mowing down these villains.
It's relatable. It's like it's this fantasy of what you would want to do if someone hurt your family.
Right. Yeah.
Which is dark.
The flashback to the wife getting shot in the face was a little confusing to me. I wasn't sure if they were retconning what actually happened because we know that the family was killed in Central Park near the carousel during
that's what he said happened.
Yeah, it was during a NYPD sting. They were getting a bunch of gangs together and they were going to bust them all at one time. But it went bad and the family ended up being collateral damage in the ensuing gunfight. So we know from Daredevil season 2 that's how the family died. So this dream where she gets shot in the face is obviously a dream, and it's just I guess it's not trying to recreate the scene of how they died, but more recreate the shock that he feels at their death still.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like all these happy memories that he has with them are being kind of like ruined by the fact that they're dead and that they were murdered.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Really, really good. If they go that route, that's a really interesting take.
Yeah.
A really interesting way to get into the mind of Frank Castle.
Yeah. We didn't see too much of him in his costume in Daredevil season 2, except for the end shot where he's sniping ninjas from the rooftop.
Yeah.
Helping him and Elektra out. But in this one, like they really he wears the costume a lot. And the skull is very visible, and I like that because that's not something we got a whole lot of in the two previous Punisher movies. Like Ray Stevenson's Punisher in Punisher Warzone, he had the skull emblem, but it was very subtle. And Thomas Jane's, he only had one like major action scene, shoot 'em up action scene in that film.
Yeah. This
This one seems better than both of those movies. It seems more dramatically relevant than Punisher Warzone, which was kind of a goofy film. Mm-hmm. And it seems more action oriented than the first Thomas Jane Punisher movie, which barely had any action.
So in other words, a perfect Punisher.
Yes.
I was gonna say film, but
I'm a little hesitant because this trailer is so good. I'm concerned that it'll be better than the actual show itself. It might be.
Yeah, this definitely raised my expectations.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few parts that kind of, I don't know. Like overall, it's amazing, but you have the two police officers that are talking to each other, and she's like, "Frank Castle's back," and then one guy's like, "The Punisher." Like it was a little off. It seems a little bit not cheesy, but
reminds me of like the cop interactions in Luke Cage.
Right?
Yeah. Between
Misty Knight and
what was her partner's name?
I don't remember, the guy who died.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. I hope
that's the only thing that kind of reminded me that this is a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Which again isn't bad, but it's definitely it's a brand, you know.
Yeah, another thing that kind of like set my expectations were comments by John Bernthal himself, where he said, so this is a quote by him, and he's talking about his penchant for taking no prisoners. He said, "It's the only thing that silences the demons temporarily. There's going to be an attempt to move beyond the Punisher, but that's something he can't shake. There's part of me that's hungry to get back into the darkness, that's excited to see it fall apart, and I'll go back to my long walks." So when he says that, it seems like there's going to be a stretch of episodes in this show where he's possibly done being the Punisher. Like he's trying to move past it, but something dark inside of him keeps pulling him back toward that murderous intent, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I understand that. I guess like you gotta fill out 13 episodes somehow, but I gotta say that those episodes are not something that I'm looking forward to. Yeah. I want to see Punisher just shooting bad guys in every single episode nonstop all the time. But yeah, so between that and that quote, it does check your expectations a little bit. We've had some set photos where we see Frank Castle sitting on a bench at a park, and he has like longer hair and a full beard and everything like that. And he's sitting with Karen Page and they're talking. I think this is at that point where he kind of like, he got rid of his like military haircut and everything like that. And he's just trying to move past it and move past the pain and everything like that. But he can't. I think that's when those set photos take place. So, keep bearing that in mind, that, that's going to be a slight arc in this show, that he's going to try to move beyond the Punisher, and bearing in mind that we may have a lot of like police procedural stuff that might feel a little more Luke Cage, I guess, than Punisher. Keep bearing all that in mind. I'm still really looking forward to this, because what they've shown in this trailer is a lot of the action, a lot of the gunfights. That's stuff that you really want to see, and it looks like it's really done well here.
Yeah.
Even the music notwithstanding, even without the music, it would be well shot.
Do you know who that villain was? I'm assuming it's the villain. It's like a bald man with a scar on his near his left eye.
That's a good question. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
It looks like he knew him from his Marine days. Like, it looks like he was torturing him. It looks like now he's a member of the CIA. We did get a small snippet before this trailer aired of Frank Castle hunting down a bunch of, I guess, dirty Marines that were in his platoon or something, I think.
Yeah.
And that has precedent. He did have some vigilante tendencies when he was in the war, according to the Bourne story arc that Garth Ennis wrote. It was a Punisher Max series.
Yeah.
Which is always something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I always liked to think of Frank Castle as kind of like this standing, like upright, upstanding like citizen, until he was driven like completely insane by the death of his family. Yeah. To me, that's that whole dichotomy in his before and after persona was more interesting. Like, I didn't like to think of him as being the Punisher before that catalyst of his family's death.
I think, war is hell, and I think that sort of pushed him along the path towards. I don't think he would have become the Punisher if he didn't have that traumatic war experience, though.
Right. Yeah. But would he still become the Punisher if his family didn't die?
That's what I'm saying. I think if his family died, he wouldn't become the Punisher. Or sorry, if only his family died, if he didn't have the traumatic war experience.
Oh yeah.
But because of both, I think that's what led him to be the Punisher.
Yeah. He definitely needs the training. You need to be, like a military expert to be the Punisher. Yeah. Not anybody could just be the Punisher. So, yeah, that's pretty much. There's a shot here where he's jumping down a staircase, which has kind of become cliche because we've seen it in the Bourne Identity, and we've seen it even in Civil War, because it's like a circular staircase in a tall apartment building, and he's jumping down the center. In this instance,
he grabs the fire hose.
But it's been done in a few movies already. But I guess it's just an action trope now.
With the fire hose, though?
Not with the fire hose.
Because that's what I was like.
Because in Bourne Identity, it was off the grappling lines that the guys were using to get him.
But no, I mean, just that scene specifically, now I know what to do if I ever need to jump down a circular staircase.
Grab the fire hose. Hopefully it's not too long.
I know. I'd be going to please stop.
Great visceral shots of Frank Castle shooting people in the head without any mercy or without any remorse, without any feeling, really. Love that stuff. And there's a great line at the end where he's like, the Punisher, he's dead. And one of the other detectives says, does this look like the work of a dead man to you? And it's just this bloody, gory horror scene that he's standing in.
I thought that was cheesy.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Does it look like the work of a dead guy to you?
I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, we'll see overall how it is. I think it'll be good. Just because I have faith in Bernthal. And yeah, it looks like he's nailing the tone and the emotionlessness of but also the weighty emotion fullness of the character. It's interesting. It's a weird balance. It's a fine line to walk. It's a weird balance.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. I think for the news. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the main event and talk about who would win in a fight between Shazam and Black Bolt. All right, so Black Bolt versus Shazam. It's not the most obvious matchup, but I do think it is a good matchup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Black Bolt is such a unique character. It was definitely a challenge for me to come up with someone to fight him. The reason I chose Black Adam initially was, again, because,
They're both black.
they're oh, they wear black, and then they both have sort of like electricity powers. They're both these rulers of a nation. But then again, as we described in the beginning, there was no reason to not also do Shazam if you're going to do Black Adam. You could save Black Adam for someone like, I don't know, Apocalypse or something like that.
Yeah, that would be a great fight. Black Adam versus Apocalypse.
For sort of the same reasons, Egyptian rulers, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Black Bolt doesn't actually have electricity powers. He absorbs electrons, but he converts them into his own different energy. It's a unique particle energy.
Yeah, but like aesthetically,
Oh yeah, you see yeah, okay.
So yeah, that's Shazam was the best I could come up with, and I do think this will be a good match.
Yes, Black Bolt is very unique. Shazam less so. I've always thought of him as just Lightning Superman, which is
like yourself.
kind of what he is. It was why the whole lawsuit happened to begin with Fawcett Comics.
Yeah,
and how they got the rights to. He was at the time called Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And then Marvel came out with their own character called Captain Marvel, and it was a huge, big, confusing mess for a while whenever you would talk about Captain Marvel. But I'm glad that DC decided to, do away with that name and just call him Shazam.
Yeah, and I'll get into that during my breakdown of the character.
Yeah, it's a better name.
But first, we're doing Black Bolt, right?
Yes. So, all right. So let me go into Black Bolt's history. What?
Do we describe the matchup first? How this works?
Sure. So basically, what we do, it's similar to the old Spike TV show Deadliest Warrior, where we pit two characters against each other. We gather their stats up, and for Marvel, we use the official Power Grid stats, and for DC, we extrapolate their stats from those Marvel stats.
Right.
And
those aren't the only stats we use. We do use a few more, but based on the same kind of grid system.
Yes. And then we use the Monte Carlo method, which is basically you run those stats along a standard deviation, so they can run higher or lower. It's all random, but within a certain set of parameters. You compare those numbers over the course of 1,000 simulations, and whoever comes out with a better result wins. We run those simulations 1,000 times, and whoever wins the majority of those 1,000 simulations, just like they did in Deadliest Warrior, is the winner.
Right.
So not every one character will win 100% of the time, but we declare the winner to be whoever wins the majority of those matches.
Right.
So,
that was a great explanation.
Thanks.
I understood everything.
Usually I black out when I try to explain it, and I start stumbling. But for this time, I felt like I did that pretty well. So, okay. So quick, before we discuss before we speculate on how one of those matches might actually go, we go into the profiles of each of the characters in case you don't know who they are, and even if you do know who they are. So Black Bolt. Before I get into the backstory on Black Bolt, I want to give a quick backstory on who the Inhumans are, since he's the king of the Inhumans. Mm-hmm. So the Inhumans are descendants of a group of ancient man that were experimented on by an alien race known as the Kree. And you know who the Kree are, correct? The villain in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, Ronan the Accuser?
He was a Kree.
The blue guy, yeah, he was a Kree alien. So long ago, the Kree tried to genetically manipulate these early, cavemen into serving as weapons in their quest for interstellar conquest. They would see these alien, they saw these alien crystals on the moon called Terrigen crystals, and they would use those as a catalyst to induce change in their human genetic experiments.
The Terrigen crystals are moon?
Yeah.
They originate from the moon?
Yeah, they're inside the moon, yeah, in the blue area of the moon. Huh. It was a science project that the Kree later abandoned, and these genetically altered humans isolated themselves in a city called Adelan from their now more primitive human counterparts. They were advanced enough to make their own journey to the moon thousands of years before normal humans to mine these Terrigen crystals and form their own super-powered society. They formed a monarchy that was obsessed with genetics, and it resulted in a caste system where the genetically superior had all the power. The lowest class was a race of subhuman, subterranean, they're like hairless apes. They're called alpha primitives, who were basically evolutionary throwbacks. They were what would happen if Terrigenesis went wrong. And the most genetically superior Inhumans made up the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
So Blackagar Boltagon, that's his real name, aka Black Bolt.
So ridiculous, but okay.
He's a member of the Inhuman royal family and is one of the most powerful Inhumans to have ever lived. He lives in a self-imposed silence because his voice is so powerful that even a mere whisper can topple a skyscraper. He's an enigmatic leader with a brilliant strategic mind that he's willing to do anything to ensure the safety of his people.
Yeah, ensure the future of the Inhumans.
Yes. He was exposed to the Terrigen mists while still in the womb, which is not common. Usually happens during adolescence. His father was Aegon, king of the Inhumans and head of the Genetic Council, and his mom was Queen Rhinda, head of the Attilan. I keep saying Attilan. It's Adelan.
Yeah.
Head of the Adelan's prenatal care center. From infancy, Blackagar was dangerously powerful, wielding an explosive voice.
Wait, sorry. So his parents were the king and queen?
Yes, that's correct.
So, but if he didn't end up being so powerful, would someone else have taken on the king role if someone was a more powerful Inhuman?
No, he was going to be genetically powerful no matter what because of his breeding, basically. So he would have been king no matter what. But his dad was a scientist who did genetic experiments, and his wife, the queen, Black Bolt's mom, had the ability to. She was immune to all types of poisons, and so she made it so that her son would be protected from any adverse risks of being exposed to Terrigen while still in the womb.
Okay.
So.
I have to say, in the TV show, his parents didn't look like royalty.
Oh well, that's the TV show, isn't it? That whole they got a lot wrong when it came to his parents, especially how they died.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, from infancy he was super powerful. He had an explosive voice and other energy abilities that he couldn't control. So to keep the rest of the Inhumans safe on Adelan, he was placed in a soundproof chamber and kept in an energy harnessing suit until he was 19 years old and allowed to enter Inhuman society. During his time in the chamber, he was schooled by his father on how to be a leader and was trained in his abilities, ensuring his destructive voice would never utter a sound, not even while he was sleeping. His friend Medusa would often visit him while in isolation, and the two formed a special bond that allowed Black Bolt to communicate with her through his body language, even like complex thoughts. Aegon and Rhinda had a second son named Maximus, who gained psychic abilities from Terrigenesis. When Blackagar was released...
I'm sorry, did you say Aegon?
Aegon, yes.
Fuck.
What?
It's Game of Thrones. Never mind, continue.
When Blackagar was released from confinement, he was attacked by Maximus right away, who was trying to prove that Blackagar had not yet mastered his powers and was still a threat to the Inhuman society. But Maximus was wrong, and Black Bolt proved his superior self-control. It was the beginning of a sort of antagonistic relationship that he would share with his brother from then on. But his relationship with Medusa blossomed into love at this time. About a month after his release from the chamber, Black Bolt discovered that Maximus was making a treacherous deal with delegates from the alien Kree Empire who had secretly returned for control of Adelan. Black Bolt stopped the Kree spaceship from fleeing the city by using his forbidden power, his voice, and blasted the ship out of the sky. Unfortunately, the ship crashed onto the Parliament building, killing his parents, Aegon and Rhinda.
Oh, jeez.
The shout's reverberations kind of rattled Maximus's brain around in his skull, I guess, and drove him insane and suppressed his mental abilities. So with his parents dead and his brother Maximus in an asylum, Black Bolt became ruler of the Inhumans at age 20. His first great act was to move Adelan from an isolated island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean to a hidden area of the Himalayan mountains to avoid its discovery by the advancing human race. Soon after, Maximus began his first attempted coup of the throne by experimenting on the Alpha Primitives. He transformed them into 3 energy beings called the Tricon, who attacked the city and caused Medusa to go missing. As Black Bolt and the rest of the royal family went searching the earth for his betrothed, Maximus took over the throne. Black Bolt and the others eventually found Medusa. She had become amnesiac, and she was a member of the Fantastic Four villains called the Frightful Four. Big bunch of losers out there. The Inhumans and Fantastic Four fought each other in a misunderstanding, but they were able to remind Medusa of who she was, and the royal family returned to Adelan.
Sorry, weren't the Inhumans introduced in the Fantastic Four comic?
Yes. Yep, that's correct. And Medusa was the first Inhuman that was introduced in the comics as the member of the Frightful Four.
Oh, really? So was everything else retconned?
No, they just, they took her character and kind of expanded upon it. Like, she wasn't really this villain. She was this amnesiac queen kind of.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So when they got back to Adelan, they took the throne back from Maximus, who in a last-ditch effort trapped the city in a negative zone barrier. Black Bolt was able to destroy the barrier with his voice, but in doing so, he also destroyed the secret invisible dome that rendered Adelan invisible to the outside world. So with that barrier gone, a plague started spreading throughout the Inhuman community, and Mr. Fantastic deduced that it was caused by Earth's pollution. So Inhumans are very susceptible to Earth diseases and pollution. Mm-hmm. So Black Bolt decided to again move the Inhuman base, this time to the blue area of the moon, where the Terrigen crystals grew.
Well, I thought you said that they were smart enough to get to the moon before man went to the moon.
They were. That's how they knew how to get there.
Oh, but they just didn't live up there.
Right, they didn't live up there. No, they would mine the crystals and bring it back to Adelan, which was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean at the time.
Okay.
And they kind of corresponded with Atlantis back in early Marvel days. So after the move to the moon, Black Bolt and Medusa finally got married, and they conceived a son named Ahura. This conception was actually done in defiance of the Genetic Council, who determined that Black Bolt's lineage was too powerful and too dangerous to continue. They ordered the pregnancy to be terminated, which caused Black Bolt and Medusa to exile themselves to Earth to ensure the baby would be born. When he was, they returned to Adelan and turned the child into the council, who forbade all contact between Ahura and his parents. So at one point, Quicksilver stole the Terrigen crystals in an attempt to bring mutants back to Earth after his sister, the Scarlet Witch, used her reality warping powers to erase the mutant gene and she caused over 90% of the world's mutants to lose their powers. So Quicksilver stole the crystals.
Quicksilver is married to Crystal.
Yeah, Quicksilver is married to Crystal, who is the sister of Medusa. So a lot to keep track of. So that event was called M-Day. So Quicksilver's Terrigen crystals that he stole some of them fell into the hands of the U.S. government, who refused to hand them back over to Black Bolt. This caused Black Bolt to declare war on the United States. Despite the royal family's concerns, they attacked the Pentagon building to get the crystals back.
Was this pre 9/11?
No.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wait, good. If you would have said yes, I'd be like,
The U.S. retaliated by sending a group of Marines that had been mutated by the Terrigen to strike Adelan. One of the Marines used her power to detonate herself in an explosion that destroyed much of the city. This caused the Inhumans of Adelan to turn on Black Bolt, and they imprisoned him, though they were all being subtly influenced by Maximus, who took over as the new king. It was during this time that Black Bolt was imprisoned that he was abducted by an alien race known as the Skrulls, who are an enemy of the Kree. He was held captive in their spaceship while they replaced him with a Skrull imposter because the Skrulls are shapeshifters.
Wait, can you remind me, like, the Skrull, the Kree,
and the Shi'ar.
And the Shi'ar, like the three dominant species in the universe.
In the Marvel Universe,
yes.
Marvel
Universe, okay.
So they took him captive, they replaced him with a Skrull shapeshifter. They planned to use Black Bolt while he was captive on their ship. They planned to use him as a deadly weapon. But when the Skrull invasion was discovered by the heroes of Earth, and I touched on that briefly in the Elektra backstory, Medusa and the Inhuman family were able to find and rescue Black Bolt.
How could you capture Black Bolt?
How
could you possibly do that? You could just
sneak attack before he's able to use his voice.
But you have to keep him like asleep the whole time?
Yeah, they had a device over his mouth.
So. And he couldn't just blast that device to smithereens?
No, because it was like siphoning his energy that they were using to create a weapon.
Oh, okay.
Because after his capture by the Skrulls, he led the city of Adelan in like an aggressive counterstrike against them. He and his brother Maximus invented, actually it was just Maximus that invented him. he invented these powerful weapons that would be fueled by his voice. And actually, the whole city of Attilan became a giant weaponized vessel that the Inhumans flew out into space and destroyed a ton of Skrull ships. They also attacked their former creators, the Kree, and they took over that whole planet.
Whoa.
So not only was Black Bolt the king of the Inhumans, but of the Kree Empire. During this time, Black Bolt learned of 4 other planets that the Kree had experimented on, and he met the Universal Inhumans. After a war with the Shi'ar aliens, which we had just mentioned, Black Bolt and the Inhumans left the Kree and returned Attilan back to the Himalayas on Earth. It was there they were messaged by Thanos, who demanded the heads of all the Inhuman youngsters. This was an attempt by Thanos to secretly kill his secret son, who was a young member of the Inhumans. So Thanos...
The Universal Inhumans?
No. Of the Earth's Inhumans. So at some point previously, Thanos must have done it with an Inhuman, and they had a son that nobody knew about. So, and Thanos was trying to kill him.
Who's the mother?
I don't know. I don't remember. But Thanos visited Attilan personally, only to find it empty except for Black Bolt, who had sent his people away. The two fought, and Black Bolt unleashed a powerful shout that destroyed Attilan and set off these Terrigen bombs that housed the Inhumans' remaining Terrigen supply. The bombs unleashed a cloud of Terrigen mists all across the Earth's atmosphere. So Attilan was gone, but the Terrigen cloud ushered in an area of inhumanity on Earth, where Black Bolt's people could live alongside the millions of humans who possessed a latent inhuman gene that underwent Terrigenesis and developed powers. The Terrigen cloud proved to be lethal to mutants, however, and the Inhumans and the X-Men grew at odds with each other and fought.
Oh, is this Inhumans versus X-Men?
Yes, exactly. And they fought each other before eventually working together to destroy the clouds. So, with the Inhumans and mutants now safe and all their Terrigen gone, Black Bolt and Medusa left Earth and their thrones to let New Attilan and its inhabitants form an inhuman democracy. They headed back to the Kree homeworld and searched for more Terrigen for future generations of Inhumans.
But I thought the Terrigen was on the moon.
It was, but they heard of where more might be growing. By Marvel Boy told them.
No.
So, yeah, that's pretty much the story thus far. As for Black Bolt's powers, his main power is to absorb electrons, which his body can convert into a powerfully destructive energy that he can manipulate in various ways. The most destructive way is through his voice. Like I said, a mere whisper can render a city to rubble. A mere word can topple a mountain range. And a loud scream can crack a planet in two. His voice is one of the most powerful forces in the entire Marvel Universe. He wears this metallic fork-shaped antenna on his head that lets him absorb and channel his energies in not quite as destructive ways, such as firing energy blasts or creating an energy shield powerful enough to stop a meteor. He can use the energy to propel himself into flights at hypersonic speeds, and he can use the energy to augment his already enhanced inhuman physiology. So, all Inhumans have enhanced strength, speed, and durability. Black Bolt even more so. A standard Inhuman can lift about 1 ton, whereas Black Bolt can normally lift about 5 tons. But when he uses his energy to enhance his strength, kind of like how Iron Fist uses his chi, he can lift in excess of 100 tons.
Oh, nice.
So this allows him to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Hulk and Thor. Mm-hmm. When he channels all of the energy he's built up into one punch, it's called the Master Blow. Though when he uses it, he's temporarily weakened, having used everything up. He has to wait like 10 to 15 minutes before he can do that again.
I heard he can run faster than Quicksilver.
He can run up to Quicksilver's hypersonic speeds. Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Well, he flies that fast, you know.
That's true.
So that's pretty much it. Another skill of note: he is highly resistant to psychic attacks due to his mental training throughout his childhood. But I don't think that'll come into play for this fight. And that's all I got. Shazam's in trouble.
I don't think so. I mean, with a character like Shazam, like his stats are
off the charts.
Well,
he's like Superman.
He's like maxed out. I mean, pretty much, almost. But
But I don't think he has any single, like, I don't think a single super powerful, like, his most powerful punch, I don't think is as powerful as Black Bolt's most powerful scream.
No, that's true.
So that's what I'm banking on.
Well, we'll see how this goes. Shazam. Okay, so right off the bat, the character of Shazam was created in 1940, and only up until a few years ago was named Captain Marvel, as we mentioned earlier. Obviously, that name didn't sit too well with Marvel Comics, so most of the comic titles, and even the TV show that he had, were where he was the main character, were named Shazam.
The Power of Shazam.
Power of Shazam,
Yeah.
or just Shazam.
Yeah.
Just some derivation of Shazam.
Is that a word?
Derivative.
Yes, there you go.
There we go. Okay.
Some derivative of the name. Yeah.
So this led to most people assuming that was the hero's name. Shazam was actually the name of the wizard who gave the hero his powers. But because I actually like the name Shazam for the character, and because fuck Marvel, I spit every time I say the word. I'm gonna refer
to your mic, man.
I'm gonna refer to the hero as Shazam and the wizard as the Wizard, since they've done that recently in the comics.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, Shazam was originally published by Fawcett Comics until 1953, when they were sued by DC Comics on copyright infringement because DC felt Shazam was too similar to Superman. DC licensed the rights to the Shazam cast of characters from Fawcett in 1972 and acquired them fully in 1991. So Fawcett Comics still made money off of DC using Shazam.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't know that. I just learned that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, interesting.
So DC used the name Fawcett City, where Shazam operates, as an homage to his original publisher. And it was in Fawcett City where the young homeless orphan Billy Batson was summoned by the ancient wizard to be a superpowered champion, a vessel of 6 immortal elders. By saying the word Shazam, Billy transformed via a living lightning into an adult with the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed and flight of Mercury, which, when you take the first letter of each figure's name, spells out Shazam. In several versions of Shazam's origin, the wizard died right after giving Billy his power, and his spirit resides in the Rock of Eternity, which is this floating mountain of sorts that sits at the nexus of time and space, and actually the nexus of the multiverse, and it acts as the source of raw magic within the multiverse. Billy has often traveled there for guidance from the wizard, often from time to time. Now, originally, Billy was chosen by the wizard because his parents were archaeologists. Billy's father, Charles Batson, went on a research expedition to Egypt when he was young to bring back Egyptian tomb artifacts, and he met the immortal wizard, who himself used to be a superpowered champion of the region and later retired into wizardry.
Huh.
Thousands of years ago...
Is that what superheroes do when they retire? They become wizards?
I guess. Thousands of years ago, the wizard gave his power to a man named Teth Adam, who ended up using his power to take over the Egyptian kingdom of the time.
That's Black Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wizard took back these powers and put them into a jeweled scarab, which is one of the relics Charles's team took back to the Fawcett City Museum. The wizard followed the relics to America, and was attacked by a group of thugs. Charles found and recognized the wizard and helped him to the museum. The wizard was about to bequeath the power of Shazam to Charles, but before he could, a man named Theo Adam, a descendant of Teth Adam, killed Charles and his wife in an attempt to get the jeweled scarab, which he was compelled to acquire by the spirit of Teth Adam, who then possessed Theo and re-emerged as the powerful Black Adam.
So Black Adam is both Teth and Theo.
In pre-New 52 continuity.
Okay.
The wizard, weak, yet knowing he must stop Black Adam, then searched for Charles' son, Billy. As wielder of the magical living lightning, Billy was able to share his power with his friends and family, most notably his older sister Mary.
I always thought that was kind of weird. Like, he was able to give his power to his friends.
Yeah.
But didn't that make him weaker?
Pre-New 52 it did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Post-New 52, I have the comic where they reintroduced him in the New 52, and I don't think it made him weaker at all, because he continued to fight Black Adam.
Oh.
technically anyone who's using the power of Shazam, like there's only a finite amount, so they like split it. So the more people that are using that power, even Black Adam, the weaker they are.
But Black Adam calls on different deities.
That's true. That's very true. I'm not sure how that works. That's true. I know with Shazam, they all pull from the same.
Yeah.
So him and his they're called the Marvel family, but I'm not going to use that word. He shared his power with his family, most notably his sister Mary and his handicapped friend Freddy.
Wait, Mary's his sister?
Yeah.
I thought she was like his love interest.
No.
Weird.
What? No.
Mary Marvel. Okay. All right. Never mind.
Mary was his. I think originally she was like his long lost twin sister, and she was adopted. And so when they finally found him, like he became a part of their family as well. In the New 52 continuity, that's not the case.
I have some
what?
images from the internet to
What the
be angry at.
All right.
Well, when you look for images of Shazam for the cover art, sometimes you run into things you don't necessarily want to see.
Moving on. Together with his family, they fought the likes of Black Adam and Dr. Savannah, Mr. Mind, and Captain Nazi. During an event known as the Day of Vengeance, the Wizard was confronted at the Rock of Eternity by the Spectre, which is a spirit of vengeance who at the time was corrupted.
Was he Hal Jordan at this time?
No.
Okay, never mind.
It's post Hal Jordan.
Sorry.
This is when like the Spectre was like really confused as to who he was, and he was manipulated by Eclipso and corrupted by Eclipso to end magic, essentially.
I know who Eclipso is.
He's a bad guy in DC Comics, essentially.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I know who he is.
Yeah. The two fought, and the Wizard died, leaving
the Spectre and the Wizard.
And the
fought?
Wizard, yeah.
Okay.
This left Shazam to team up with other magic-based heroes to rebuild the Rock of Eternity, restore magic, and because the Rock of Eternity is like sort of it's the source of raw magic throughout the multiverse.
Okay.
Shazam succeeded the Wizard in acting as the Rock's guardian wizard.
That's cool.
Yeah. But around this time, shortly after, the New 52 reboot happened. In the New 52 reboot, the Wizard was the last remaining survivor of the Council of Eternity, which was a group of 7 mages from around the world that ruled over magic. Black Adam had killed the rest of them, and the Wizard once again gave Billy his power to stop Black Adam. During the war between Darkseid...
Why Billy in this continuity, in the New 52 continuity?
It was kind of random. The Wizard was tested a few more people before Billy, and
he was just like the chosen one.
Billy convinced him. In the New 52, Billy is not like a G. Willikers kind of kid. He's very much an asshole. And so he basically, he's basically like told the Wizard like, "What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?" And the Wizard was like, "Oh, dude, this guy's not worthy." And Billy managed to convince him that no one would be worthy. That modern times have just, I think it was sort of commentary on the character of Shazam and Billy, because like he's very much like, his nickname is like, the big cheese. He's this very like pure and happy character. But I think in trying to translate for like this modern era, it doesn't translate as well. So I think that was Billy sort of explaining like, hey, that doesn't work. That doesn't exist anymore, So the Wizard saw like, this great wisdom and saw that he deep down even though he was an asshole kid, he still had a good heart. So he did end up giving him the power of Shazam, and Billy became Shazam. Of course, the first thing he did was try and make money off of it.
Oh yeah, like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this panel where like he broke into an ATM. And I just remember seeing this image of him holding like $100 bill and smiling.
Yeah.
Which is weird to see like this like Superman type character to have this like big goofy smile holding a $100 bill. I hope John Cena gets the role just because I want to see him do that. I want to see like John Cena like bust into an ATM and be like, "Hey, I have money now." Just act like a kid.
Yeah. That's also, I guess, one of the reasons we're doing Shazam, because of the news from last episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Recently, there was this huge war between Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor. If you're not familiar with them, I don't have time to go into other backstories. Google it. So
Anti-Monitor was responsible for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
He's like this.
He's a universe-destroying entity.
Yes. So a war between those two.
Yes. And Darkseid was killed. And his death severed Billy's connection to the six figures from whom he drew his power. You see, all gods, Darkseid is a new god. And all gods, when they die, they return to the source. And Darkseid sort of like corrupted that.
Okay.
When we come into the source, so it corrupted that connection. So the wizard, he had died when he gave Billy his power. He was in the source, but he still he had to sort of like orchestrate events from behind this source wall to choose 6 new deities through which Billy would serve as a vessel for their power.
6 new ones?
Yeah. So Billy now has the strength of Seiva, who's a powerful old god.
Okay.
Darkseid is a new god. This is an old god.
Okay.
So Billy has the strength of Seiva, the fires of Haranmir, which is the Martian god of fire, life, and death.
Oh, see, these aren't like mythological gods. These are like DC old gods.
The cool thing about this is that 3 of them are like mythological figures, and 3 of them are like strictly DC deities.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, Haranmir is the Martian god of fire, life, and death. He has the compassion of, I'm going to mispronounce this, Anapel, the wise Russian god of life-giving. The source manipulation of Zanuz.
What does that mean?
Also known as Yuga Khan, an old god and Darkseid's father.
Okay.
Source manipulation means, I think it's essentially how he's going to continue to be able to bequeath his powers to other people. But if you're connected to the source, you know, you're just super powered, essentially. Super speed, super strength.
Ugh. I don't know if I like this.
He also has the boldness of Ate, the Greek god of impulse, heroism, and sacrifice. And finally, the lightning of Mamargan, the aboriginal god of lightning, who, in a twist, was revealed to be the wizard himself in the New 52.
Okay. Weird. I like it better when it was Greek gods and, well, Solomon.
Well, I like this one because this one includes women. The Greek gods never really made sense to me because not all of them are gods. Some of them are demigods, like Hercules and Achilles. One of them is a Jewish king.
Solomon?
Yeah. So, I don't know. To me, I don't know if it's going to stick around because, you know, his original pantheon is just so iconic. So we'll see if
Are we
going to
go with his traditional powers, or like it sounds like he has fire powers?
Okay, so
now.
well, here's the thing. He doesn't like have his own comic right now. So I don't know too much more beyond after what he's done with his abilities or how he's used his abilities post New 52. So I do know he has super strength, speed. He's wise. He has lightning power. I mean, he still has all of those things.
What does wise mean? Practically in battle.
Not much.
Okay. So
it's not like a strategic
he's not able to like.
It's a wisdom.
Is he able to like infer weaknesses or things like that?
To an extent, I think, but how quickly he's able to do that, I'm not sure. If he has one weakness, it is that he is, you know, a naive kid. Still, you know, his personality doesn't change when he becomes the adult Shazam,
right?
You know, so at times his naivete and the wisdom kind of clash, but it does aid him definitely.
Black Bolt is like the opposite,
just to help
naive.
him make the right decisions, and really it's how he outsmarts Black Adam, you know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what powers is he? Okay, so keep going. He has strength, speed, flight.
Strength, speed, flight, and lightning.
Lightning.
Yeah.
So you're not giving him like fire powers or anything?
I'm sure he can right now, but again, I don't know if this will keep. I don't know. I have a feeling that this is a temporary thing.
Okay. Yeah, it seems a little convoluted. It seems like something that they might simplify.
Yeah. What I don't want to do is stick solely with the new version of the character like I did with Hawkman in our Hawkman versus Wolverine fight.
Yeah.
But now, like, that is obsolete.
That's stupid because I like that version of Hawkman.
I loved that version of Hawkman. But now they have, like, once again redone Hawkman.
They took away what made him interesting, and I think New 52 was infinitely more interesting than
Well, now we're in the rebirth era, right? So what are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. Okay, so basically Superman with lightning is the power set that he's going to have.
Yeah.
Without heat vision.
Without heat vision or super breath or anything like that.
Okay. All right, that works for me. I was really afraid that all of a sudden he was going to be able to, like, just blink you out of existence or something. I don't know.
Well, the interesting thing is, like, some of his deities can, like, literally, like, create black holes. And, like,
and you saw this in a comic? How do you know this?
Oh, the guy who he draws strength from, Siva?
Uh-huh.
He almost destroyed New Genesis and Apocalypse. Because, like, that his power is to, like, essentially, like, destroy planets. Just by, like, I forget, I'm not sure what he does, like, vibrate or something. I don't know. It's interesting. He's way stronger than Hercules, I could tell you that, though.
Okay.
So, like, Shazam was already, like, Superman level strength.
Uh-huh.
With this new god, he's insanely strong. Insanely strong. Enough so that, like, when like, Darkseid, I forgot who had to recruit the help. I think it was either Darkseid or Highfather. It might have been Highfather who recruited Superman and Orion. And Darkseid and Highfather, like, all fought this guy. He's that strong.
So basically, Shazam can wipe the floor with Superman now.
They haven't fought yet. I don't know.
I like
He's just
this.
insanely
Let's
strong.
go with classic Shazam powers before the New 52 garbage. I mean, before the post-New 52 garbage. Rebirth garbage.
Rebirth isn't garbage. I don't know. I'm not going to do anything that's not unfamiliar to you. Okay, I'm not going to, like, pull out some random, I don't know what.
Okay.
So
Stupid DC always changing their shit. Just be consistent so that we can do this fucking battle right.
No, honestly, while I think this is going to be temporary, I hope it's not. Because I love the fact that they're using, like, Haran Mir, you know? It's like, the Martian god that Martian Manhunter always talks about. It's like, that's badass. That's awesome. He's not just using Earth deities or Earth figures. He's using, some of the most powerful gods from around the universe. It's pretty badass.
Is it badass, though? Or is it
Fuck yeah.
inconsequential?
No, it's pretty badass.
Okay, whatever. All right, so let's get into the fight. So the stipulations that we have for our speculative battle is that they start 50 yards apart in no environment. Environment plays no factor on our fights because we don't take stats for the environment, just the characters themselves. And also, some characters can, have advantages in some environments over others. And we try to keep things on an even keel, just character versus character, how they would hold up on their own without outside aid.
Right.
So, and the characters, they know they're going to be a threat, but they're not, like, bloodlusted or anything. It's their standard persona. And they just know they have to fight and win.
I recently came across that term, bloodlust.
Yeah. They don't know anything about each other either.
Right.
So let's begin.
All right.
So they're going to start 50 yards apart.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Wisdom of Solomon does anything, even though that's not a thing anymore. God, okay. I don't know how I'm going to refer to this. So I think it seems like Shazam would be the type to not necessarily blitz, but
no, he's not going to do that. I mean,
neither is Black Bolt. Black Bolt's very studious. He'll kind of gauge the situation.
Yeah, I definitely think in a lot of these fights, like, the DC guy starts first.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why that's sort of become a trend, but I definitely think in this case that wouldn't be the case. I think if both of them know, like, they need to fight each other, I still think that, again, one of his new powers is compassion. I don't think, and the wisdom that comes in and ties in with that. I don't think Shazam would strike first. I think Black Bolt is more ruthless, I think, than Shazam.
Well, if he knows he had to put him down, like we'll have Black Bolt start this fight then. I think what he'll do is, he'll increase his strength. He doesn't know how strong Shazam is yet.
Yeah.
But he'll increase his strength regardless, just to put himself not an advantage, but probably what he perceives to be an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll fly at him and throw a punch.
I have a question.
Throw it.
So
It'll be like a testing punch.
you mentioned that Black Bolt stores energy.
Yes.
What happens if he uses that energy? Like,
He's left weakened. The only time he ever uses it up, though, is when he...
screams it?
No, he does his Master Blow. But,
okay.
I mean, if he did a loud, earth-shattering shout, yeah, it would use it up, probably. I've never seen him do that, though.
Okay. When have you seen him use the Master Blow?
In comics, against, like, people like Thor.
Really?
Hulk, yeah, knock him out.
And it knocked him out?
Yes. But
okay.
Black Bolt's also weakened after that, so...
You would think what's more powerful, the Master Blow or his Scream?
The Scream. I don't think if
Okay.
he struck the ground with the Master Blow, it's just vague. It's just it's a really powerful punch, but his most powerful weapon will always be his Scream. It's not like the power of his Scream in a punch.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
The energy conversion doesn't. It's not 1-to-1 between his Scream and his punch.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So Black Bolt is flying at Shazam,
Yes.
and Shazam's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. He's kind of like pulling back for his punch, and he's gonna like throw the punch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Shazam is definitely bracing himself.
Yeah, Shazam is a pretty good grappler. One of two things are going to happen. Either he's going to grab Black Bolt's fist and kind of do like a wrestling throw down to the ground, or he's going to let Black Bolt connect, which I don't think he would do.
No. Well, I mean, it depends on how much Black Bolt is underestimating Shazam, essentially.
If he
because Shazam is insanely strong, and insanely durable.
Shazam also doesn't know how powerful Black Bolt is. So if Black Bolt was able to connect, I'm pretty sure he might break his hand.
One thing I forgot to mention, power set wise with Shazam, he knows magic, especially when he took over as the wizard. So he has like attempted spells before. And some of them have been successful. He's not like an expert at it.
What kind of spells?
I'm trying to remember what's the specific one.
DC is just so fucking vague with all their characters.
Well, this is when he took over as the wizard. I haven't seen him do anything with magic since, but
what was the
he's
spell?
definitely a magic-based being. I forget.
You forget what the spell was?
I didn't read the Trials of Shazam, which is what he had to go through these trials to officially become like the wizard.
Like Hercules?
Yeah, but he passed them, and it was magic-based trials.
Okay. I'm just going to ignore you said that then.
Okay.
Because it has no bearing on this.
I don't know why I thought that was important.
I don't know why you thought it was important either. Okay, so he slams him down to the ground because he's not going to let him connect. He doesn't know how strong Black Bolt is. Black Bolt probably figures out pretty quickly that this dude's way stronger than him.
Yes.
So he probably like he's stuck on the ground. He probably like gets up.
Billy tries to probably talk to him. He's like, "Hey, guy, come on, what are you doing? I'm really strong. Don't."
No. He's trying to win. Shazam is trying to win. They know that each other are threats, and they know that they have to win. So he's not going to try to reason his way out of this.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe the wisdom said he could do it. I don't know.
No. So from there, Black Bolt's on the ground. Shazam probably like throws like a two-fisted haymaker, tries to like smash him while he's on the ground. Black Bolt's going to get defensive, so he's probably going to throw up an energy shield. Is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So Captain Marvel's... What did I just say?
You just...
So Shazam is gonna
spit at the name.
Is gonna hit the shield basically, and then he's gonna learn somewhat about Black Bolt's powers from that.
Okay, so Shazam's like, okay, my fists don't get through the shield. Let's give it a little bit of lightning. So he calls down a lightning bolt to crack the shield.
But the shield doesn't crack through the lightning bolt.
Why?
Because it's an energy shield. It's good at blocking lightning.
Okay.
So I imagine Black Bolt doing this like cool, like kind of like not a handspring, but like from the ground he like does that, like launches himself up with his hands and kicks Captain Marvel in the face. This time it's a lot more powerful kick. It's it's probably powerful enough to like not send him flying, but certainly like
knock him to the ground.
Knock his head back.
Okay.
Maybe not even powerful enough to knock him to the ground, because I know going into this that Black Bolt is not nearly as fast, strong, or durable as Captain Marvel, but he can enhance himself to become durable enough, strong enough to at least, knock Captain Marvel back a little bit, because he's done that to Thor.
Yeah. Okay, so once Shazam gets hit, and he's like, oh, this guy's hitting harder now, then he does a full force lightning bolt again.
And then Black Bolt's, he absorbs all the energy.
What?
Because lightning is negatively charged electrons, which is what Black Bolt absorbs. So he absorbs all the lightning.
Okay.
And then he becomes even, he becomes even stronger than what he was.
So this is magic lightning. This is the living lightning. I don't know if he could absorb magic.
Can he absorb Shazam's lightning? I'm going to say he can.
All right.
Because I think just that would just be really cool. It would be cooler than him just getting struck. The concept of Black Bolt getting hurt by lightning is just foreign to me. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right. So I'm going to say that he absorbs it. And then
okay, fine. And then it's not going to do exactly what he wants to do, because it's like a wild, chaotic magic.
Okay.
Electrons.
Oh, all right. So at this point, he's like, "Whoa!" And then he does a really heavy punch to Captain Marvel's chest, and then Captain Marvel's like, "I should probably not use lightning against this guy, because it looks like I just made him even stronger."
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Instead of throwing a really powerful punch, maybe he shoots out an energy blast at him. I think that'll really affect Captain Marvel. Or not really affect him, but, moderately affect him.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say so he shoots lightning?
It looks... No, it's a energy blast. Black Bolt shoots an energy blast. He converts the lightning to energy.
Okay. But again, I said that it's not going to react the way he wants. So here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
He's going to shoot out lightning. It's going to transform Shazam back into Billy Batson.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because he's using the magic lightning.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then Billy Batson's going to be on the ground. And I've seen him do this before. Black Bolt is going to walk up thinking that he's won and be really curious, what the fuck is this kid doing here? What happened to the guy I was fighting?
Oh, this happened in the Marvel vs. DC fight with Thor, right?
No, this happened in... he was fighting Batman. It happened in Superman and Batman.
Oh, okay.
Where Shazam and Hawkman were tasked to take out Superman and Batman.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Batman's gonna be like, "What the fuck is this kid doing here?" He's gonna go up, and then Billy's gonna be like, his eyes are closed, and he's gonna smile and say, "Shazam!" And then boom! Black Bolt gets smashed by a huge lightning bolt from behind that he wasn't expecting, and it just explodes the entire area around Shazam. Now Shazam is Shazam again, Billy Shazam again, and he's ready to go. And he just charges into Black Bolt as he's dazed, and just pummels the shit out of him, really hard.
Okay, that was a good move. So Black Bolt was knocked back by the force of the lightning blast.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Shazam's like, "I'm not playing around anymore. Time to beat the shit out of you."
Yeah.
That's not going to stand well for Black Bolt, because he's durable, but he can only
handle
so pummeled for so long.
Yeah.
So at that point, he went through a broken tooth or something. He's probably going to be like, "Fuck you," and just totally blow up Shazam's face.
I just realized both of them have power in their voices, power in words in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except Shazam's word is Shazam and Black Bolt's word is "fuck you." So this will be the first time that Captain Marvel... why do I keep doing that? This is the first time that Shazam gets hit with Black Bolt's sonic scream.
It's not a sonic scream.
Quasi-sonic, whatever. It's actually an energy. It's not a force.
So it travels faster than the speed of sound.
Yes.
Okay.
What is a whisper gonna do to Captain Marvel? Shazam. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
I'm so sorry.
Stop
when I picture him in my head, it's Captain Marvel. I'm not used to calling him Shazam out loud yet.
Shazam.
So what is the voice gonna do to Shazam?
It definitely hurts him.
He's gonna get blasted back pretty far.
Yeah.
I think he's really gonna be taken back by this. Like it's surprising. Like
Yeah.
do you think Billy will try to have it prior to this at the start of the fight? Do you think Billy will try to talk to him and then be confused why Black Bolt's not talking back to him? I don't know what made me think of that.
I don't know.
But at this point, he'll definitely realize that he has a powerful voice.
Yeah. So by this point, Shazam is probably, like his suit is probably tattered for sure.
Yeah.
Now he's probably he's realized like the stakes are so incredibly high.
He's like, I'm about to die if I don't do something quick.
So he like goes into like full god mode where like his like eyes are like lightning and there's just like lightning all around. And this is like his all-in-one shot. He charges his whole body with lightning and he just charges forward
Using the speed of Mercury.
Yeah, using the speed of Mercury.
Whatever.
I don't know if he has speed powers now.
And I think Black Bolt's still going to be really hurt from the punches that he suffered beforehand.
Yeah.
And he's going to be lying on the ground seeing Shazam fly toward him. And he's going to... I don't know if he's going to be able to get a word out before Shazam reaches him. Because Billy definitely has... he could do like really powerful lightning bolts, and I think that these lightning bolts are powerful enough to kill Black Bolt. I think he's giving everything he's got right here. So he's going to finish him off with a lightning bolt? He's not going to speed blitz him at this point?
Well, it's like he's lending his speed to the lightning. He's doing both. He's charging him with all the lightning he can muster.
And his own fists.
Yeah.
That's a scary sight, I bet you. So at this point, Black Bolt's going to try to say the word shit and destroy him. Or it was cool when he fought Thanos, he said no. And that was pretty cool because it was like a shout.
And Thanos was able to survive that?
Yeah, that was really stupid. I did not like that. I'm like, Thanos is powerful, but he's not that powerful. Because this was a shout.
Well, that's good precedence.
No, it's horrible precedence. It's writer stupidity. They just needed Thanos to actually take Black Bolt captive in that story at that point. So it's what they had to do. But they also needed Black Bolt's shout to be strong enough to detonate the Terrigen bombs that he had. So anyway, that's pretty much I think where this we'll leave this fight off and then come back with a winner. I think it's a pretty good visual. Black Bolt on the ground, probably on his elbows, like about to speak, and Captain Marvel going at him. It's all whoever gets it off first.
They're both tattered and bloodied, and they're both like about to give it their all. But the question is,
Shazam's pretty quick.
If Shazam, fuck you, stop doing that.
I know, I suck.
If Thanos could withstand his Black Bolt scream, then,
but he can't, and that was writer-induced stupidity.
Why not Shazam? Like at his most powerful,
Because that was stupid.
Shazam is ultimately faster than.
How fast is Shazam?
Well, he has the speed of Mercury.
Is that Jay Garrick fast?
It's Superman fast, essentially. Maybe not as fast as Superman, but
is that Flash
just
fast?
under. No, it's definitely not Flash fast.
But
Flash is faster than Superman.
But just under that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say Jay Garrick fast.
Okay. That's pretty fast.
It is. It's
several
times the speed of sound.
Almost the speed of light, I thought.
Jay Garrick?
Yeah.
It varies. Well, if you think it's that fast, then no, it's not that fast. He's not as fast as the speed of light.
Okay.
It's more Quicksilver fast, but maybe Quicksilver when Quicksilver is able to go like.
But
Mach
Superman
8 or
is
like
faster than Quicksilver.
That's true. Shazam can keep up with Superman.
Okay, so we'll say Superman fast,
For the
which
most
is really
part,
fast.
For the most part. I would say, like, if Superman really gave it his all, then he's probably faster than Shazam, I would want to say.
Is that reaching?
It's faster than sound travels. That's what was important to me. That's why I was asking if his scream was, if it traveled the speed of sound or if it was faster.
That's not necessarily the case. It is an energy, but it's still carried by sound waves.
Okay. I still think he can move faster than Black Bolt can react or think.
it all depends on how long he waits to gather up all his like lightning energy and whatever. I don't know. Because if it takes him, more than a second, then I think Black Bolt will be able to get that word out, that shout out, before Shazam reaches him. So we'll leave it there. We'll go to the stats. We'll run the simulations through the machine. And I say machine, it's really just my computer, but we call it the machine. And we'll come back with the winner. Okay.
Was that a Wilhelm scream?
Yeah, they use it in like all the movies and stuff. I thought it was funny. Or the machine.
What does it
sound
mean?
Effects. Got kind of carried away. I don't know what it means. It means that somebody's dying, probably. Or maybe Black Bolt's shout.
That's a weak ass shout.
Was that your phone? I just heard your phone. Way to go. Anyway. All right. So after inputting all the stats, we ran 1,000 simulations, and we have the results. Did you learn anything, though, that while we were putting in the stats? At one point, you said that...
I was really confused as to whether or not Shazam is faster than Superman. I've seen conflicting... just conflicting information. I'm gonna say he's just a little bit slower than Superman. That's what I'll say.
I'm gonna say he's as fast as lightning, which is what we ended up going with.
Yeah,
because like we were comparing it, like, is he as fast as the Flash? The answer is no. Flash can run almost the speed of light, and the speed of lightning is just a fraction of the speed of light.
Not just a fraction; it is a fraction of the speed of light. It's nowhere near as fast as the speed of light.
Yeah, so
but it's still really fast.
It's faster than Black Bolt.
Yeah,
I'll say that. I almost did it again. Shazam has a lot of... Like, I trained myself for so long to not call Shazam and call him Captain Marvel that I trained... my brain can't retrain itself. I need to start getting used to calling him
can't
Shazam
teach
again.
An old dog new tricks.
Yeah. So Shazam had a lot of high stats. Black Bolt was really high on his energy output, on the amount of damage that it could do.
Yeah.
That's just off the charts.
Other than maybe like Darkseid, I can't think of like too many other characters in DC who could like destroy a planet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with one blast.
Except for maybe the guy that Shazam now draws his strength from.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you have like all these like pre-New 52 feats, pre-Crisis feats, and everything like that, where like superheroes are able to like move planets.
I know. Like I think, like pretty early on, like Shazam ran so fast he ran into like the fifth dimension or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So yeah, taking all that, we're trying to like we're not going that wild with these stats. Basically, right, we're trying to get as close to what we think is the truth as possible.
Yeah.
So that in mind, do you want to hear the winner?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, prepare to be disappointed because the winner was Black Bolt.
No! How? No! No!
In the end,
why?
Comparing stats side by side, yes, Shazam is stronger and faster and more durable, but Black Bolt has been able to increase his own personal physiology to go up against the likes of Thor, Hulk, Thing. So yeah, he's far off from where Shazam is, but he's far off, but he's not that far off, He's able to hold his own. What really puts us over the edge is Black Bolt's destructive voice is just so damn powerful.
Well, then who could be Black Bolt? I guess no one then. If Shazam can't do it, then no one can.
Well, this is
bullshit.
Think about the stats we put in for...
overpowered? DC guys are overpowered. Fuck Black Bolt and fuck Marvel and fuck you.
We're entitled to one overpowered guy.
One overpowered guy?
Black Bolt's voice is so powerful that it tore the fabric of space and time and, created the Cancerverse whole and everything like that whole deal. It's a really powerful blast.
Stats were really high stats.
They were close. I didn't even tell you how close the match was.
How close was the match?
So out of 1,000 matches, Black Bolt won 591. So he won
59%.
59.1% of the fights. Black Bolt won. So that's another tally for Marvel. I think it's actually tied now. The number of fights that we have won.
I lost track.
Yeah, it's 10-10, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So
I spit every time I say the name Black Bolt now.
that does it for this fight. I mean, if you guys have different opinions, go ahead and let us know. You could write into us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media.
I'm sad. This saddens me. I always consider him like the fourth member of the Trinity. Like with Kingdom
Shazam?
Come. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Sad.
Yeah, he's up there. He's been in all the Injustice games too and everything like that, right?
No, he's not in Injustice 2. He was in the first Injustice, though.
Okay. Well, so sorry, but better luck next time.
Shut up.
Better luck next time. I'm being a good sport about this, man. Be a good sore loser. Be a good loser. Don't be a sore loser. All right. So that does it for the match, and pretty much for the episode. I do have a hint to give for the trivia question, which was, what word did the wizard shout, and what was it an acronym for? And we're referring to the wizard that gave Shazam his powers. The hint for that is the word that the wizard would shout is an anagram of the word Marvel.
And that's how we tie this into being both a DC and a Marvel
Yes.
question.
All right, so submit your answer to us on social media or email, and we do have a quick letter that was sent in to us by one of the fans. I don't know if he wants us to use his full name, but his name is Tim, and he asked us, "What are your top 5 memorable comic runs? Try to think if you were stuck in a room for a year and had access to 5 comic runs. I'm not including mini or maxi series like Watchmen, Kingdom Come, Marvel's Infinity Gauntlet, etc. I'm talking regular comic runs." I had to think long and hard about this one, because there are a lot of like quintessential runs. Like we're talking like Chris Claremont's X-Men, Peter David's Hulk, and Stan Lee on everything, Walt Simonson's Thor. Those are like the quintessential character runs.
What are your favorites?
Yeah, the ones that I think I would want to have, like if I were locked in a room for 5 years, are not necessarily those. The ones I picked were a little bit more modern. The ones I just enjoyed reading a little bit more. So for Marvel, my top 5 comic runs are Garth Ennis's Punisher, which includes the Punisher Max series. I got to go with Frank Miller's Daredevil, which includes the Born Again story and everything there. I really liked Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, which included the Infinity story and Secret Wars. I thought that was really well done. I like Dan Slott's Spider-Man. I thought his run was really good. I like the way he writes the character. That also includes the Superior Spider-Man arc in that, which I thought was really well done. The resolution especially.
You liked that?
Yeah, I did.
Interesting.
And lastly, Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men run.
That was a good run.
Which I thought was pretty well written. And I like the art on it too. Cassidy's
John
art.
Cassaday,
yeah, I thought it was really well done. So those are the 5 that I would pick as my 5 to take with me on a deserted island or locked room or wherever. What about you? Like there were a lot. Like I was thinking like Matt Fraction's Iron Man or Hawkeye. That was a good one. Jim Starlin's Adam Warlock gets honorable mention. Ed Brubaker's Captain America gets honorable mention. But at first I had to think about what characters I was going with. So I think like with Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America, I could get my fill of those characters with Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run. So that's where I went with that. What about you? For DC.
I have my list, but I'm totally second guessing it now. I will go because I never kind of decided whether or not I prefer Morrison's or Wade's run on JLA.
I like Wade's.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I love Tower of Babel. I just love that story. But like Grant Morrison, like really like redefined the JLA. You know.
Oh, that's true.
But shit. I'll go Wade on JLA. And then maybe I'll do Morrison's Batman.
Okay.
Of course.
There's so many other great Batman runs, though. You went with
No. I'm gonna do Scott Snyder's run on Batman, and that's relatively new.
Okay.
Just because I really like his Joker. Okay, so I have Wade's run on JLA, Scott Snyder's Batman, I still have 3 more. I'm gonna do Jeff Johns' Green Lantern.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do Dan Jurgens' run on Superman.
Okay.
Because that was the whole death and resurrection of Superman.
Yeah.
That's what kind of got me into DC.
Yeah. That's 4.
And then one that I've read a few issues of, but I haven't read the entire thing. But that's one of the reasons I would want to take it with me, is Alan Moore's Swamp Thing.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
That.
Oh, you have some great creators in there.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You had Wade, Snyder, Jurgens,
Johns,
and Moore. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
way better than yours.
Ennis, Miller, Hickman, Slott, Whedon. Huh. Anyway, that is our answer to that question. That was a really hard question, but a great one. So thank you for writing into us, Tim. And you guys, if you want to write into us as well, go ahead and email us. And our next episode, that does it for this episode. Our next episode is going to be another Duel episode. I think it's going to be Hulk versus Doomsday.
You were supposed to say that.
Why?
It's supposed to be teased on Instagram.
Oh, I mean, not everybody who follows us on Instagram listens to the podcast, so it will still be teased. It'll just entice them to come listen. It's fine.
Okay.
So tune in to that. Look forward to that. It'll be in 2 weeks.
And we're doing Hulk because of Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it'll be the last Duel episode before Thor Ragnarok, which is coming up soon, guys. So that's exciting. Subscribe to us again. As we always say, 2 weeks is a long time before episodes. So be sure you subscribe and don't forget about us, please. We love you. See you guys in 2 weeks.
This just got awkward. All right. Up and away.
True believers.